She put my faithfulness to the test by instructing her closest companion to flirt with me through messages. I courteously turned her down. Afterward, I presented the exchanges to my betrothed, declaring that I'd succeeded. Her sly grin faded instantly when I revealed the remaining messages, the ones where her companion confessed she'd been directed to attempt it. I, a 30-year-old guy, was, or more accurately, had been, betrothed to Elena, 28. Our nuptials were merely 6 months away. As an information technology coordinator, my mind operates on principles of reason, schedules, and identifying interconnections. Elena, on the other hand, works in promotions. She's focused on crafting stories. I believed our stories meshed perfectly. Turns out, they didn't. Our partnership seemed solid. Or, at least, solid enough. We cohabited in my apartment. It's mine. She relocated there roughly a year back. We were immersed in preparations for the ceremony. The usual pressures were mounting. Disputes over engraved table linens. Her mom insisting on including 50 distant relatives on the invite list. Typical chaos. Elena has long harbored some doubts about herself. She'd drop remarks that carried a sharper edge than intended. Adam, you're overly warm with that coffee server. Does she routinely add that extra layer? You hearted that influencer's photo on social media? For what reason? I'd always dismiss them lightly. Honey, it's merely a beverage. Honey, I was just browsing. It signifies zilch. I chalked it up to pre-ceremony nerves. Her top confidant is Carla, 28. They're inseparable, practically sharing thoughts. They bonded during university days and operate as one. Carla is vocal, perpetually entangled in some turmoil. I maintained civility toward her for Elena's benefit, though I never quite relied on her fully. On the prior Tuesday, I was lounging on the sofa, absorbed in a detailed report for my job, when my device vibrated. A message from Carla. Hi there. Busy with tasks? It struck me as odd. We're not on a casual hi there basis with Carla. Hi, Carla. Sure, finishing off an assignment. What's on your mind? Goodness, feeling so idle. Elena's at her flexibility session. I was merely pondering how kind you always are. Appreciate it. Everything all right. Feeling better already. You realize, Elena is truly fortunate. Occasionally I question if she truly values her blessings. My gut twisted sharply. This wasn't casual chit-chat. This was a blatant setup. My initial reaction wasn't even that she was pursuing me. My gut instinct screamed ambush. But the motive? I held off responding briefly. I'm methodical. I required evidence. Ghosting it might make it vanish, leaving me in limbo. Alerting Elena, and Carla refutes it, painting me as the fabricator. I needed her to lock it in. Not certain what you're implying, Carla. I believe our bond is strong. Certainly. But suppose, just for argument's sake, if you ever sense dissatisfaction, I find you quite attractive, and I'm far more adventurous than she could be. Merely an observation. Our little confidence. It skirted the line, but included a snapshot of her in sleepwear, puckering her lips absurdly. It was both sad and enraging. Now I possessed proof. I responded with grace. Carla, let me state this plainly. I adore Elena. I'm set to wed her. This exchange is utterly improper, and it must cease. For Elena's peace, I'll act as if this never occurred, but refrain from messaging me this way henceforth. I assumed closure. Nausea hit hard. My intended's inner circle member. I knew disclosure to Elena was essential, yet I dreaded it. Then, roughly 20 minutes on, my device pinged once more. Sigh. Fine, you're correct. Apologies. Carla. Heavens, I feel idiotic. Listen, may I speak frankly? The reversal inbound. You ought to. Elena prompted this. She's been spiraling, claiming you're flawlessly composed, and fearing you're expert at concealing flaws. She urged me to probe you. I warned her it was insane. Adam, please, keep this from her. She'll destroy me. Simply, her doubts run deep. Show her compassion. I fixated on the display. The fury surging through me was icy. Not fiery wrath. It was an abrupt, freezing insight. This wasn't Carla's disloyalty. This was a deliberate, scheming ploy by Elena. She evaluated me like some experimental device. I lingered there for an hour, absorbing it all. The quips about the server, the social media interactions. Not mere anxiety. It signaled utter distrust. And she lacked the spine to handle it herself, deploying her minion instead. Elena returned home an hour on, beaming, scented with eucalyptus from her session. Hi love, how'd the day go? She murmured, pecking my jaw. It went smoothly, I replied, tone impeccably steady. Though we must discuss a matter. Her expression stiffened. Slightly. All right. Shoot. I retrieved my device. Received some bizarre messages this evening, from Carla. I displayed the initial segment of the dialogue. Carla's overtures, the image, my rejection. I observed her reaction. She feigned shock convincingly. Oh heavens, Adam. Unbelievable. Is she intoxicated? I'll ring her immediately. That traitor. She earned points for performance. But I was aware. No need to contact her, I interjected. She halted, fingers midway to her gadget. Pardon? Why ever not? Accountability is due. And then it escaped her. A faint grin tugged at her mouth. Impressive, truly. You shut her down decisively. Well done, Adam. You aced it. Aced? I queried, voice hushed. A minor fidelity check, she explained, attempting a chuckle as if it were whimsical. Come on, don't glare so. I trusted you'd shine. I merely, you understand, needed confirmation. Carla constantly warns that males are unreliable. I aim to disprove her. And you triumphed. I'm beaming with pride. She advanced for an embrace. I raised my palm. A check, I echoed. Charming, I'm sure. No hard feelings, she cooed, voice turning wheedling. Merely frivolous feminine whim. Indeed, I noted, locking eyes. Curiously, you mentioned that. Yet I suspect Carla wasn't the failure here. Her grin dissolved. Excuse me? What do you mean? I lifted my device anew, advancing further. Precisely, I affirmed. Carla proved forthright. I noted her pallor shift as she scanned the lines. Carla. Elena directed me. She's been unraveling. She desired me to evaluate you. Kindly, Adam. Withhold this from her. She'll end me. Elena remained rooted, mute. Her complexion blanched. The grin absent, supplanted by the gaping dismay of one whose fabricated tale just shattered. Thus, I declared, rising from the seat. Perhaps we ought to address this frivolous feminine whim in our impending union. Update 1. 2 weeks have passed. I'm drained. The repercussions from the messages unfolded unlike anticipated. Elena's mute interval endured perhaps 10 seconds. Then the outbursts commenced. Yet it wasn't remorse. It was fury. You ensnared me, she bellowed. You coerced Carla. You cornered her to extract that admission. You ought to have simply refused and erased it. Why sabotage it all? I stood dumbfounded. I'm the saboteur? Elena, you dispatched your confidant to entice me. You staged a phony cheating scenario. How is that not deranged? Oh, mature, Adam, she retorted. It's trivial. It's commonplace. Otherwise, how can I verify your honesty? You're the sly one, messaging her covertly to force a revelation. You're the villain. Classic deflection. She was utterly incensed that her scheme was uncovered. I was finished. The affection I'd harbored dissolved. It morphed into a frigid, solid void within. Pack your belongings, Elena, I instructed. What? Absolutely not. We're not dissolving over this. I refuse to let you dissolve us over this. We are. It's over. I refuse to wed someone who deems this acceptable. I can't even court someone who deems this acceptable. The ceremony's canceled. Retrieve your items. I'll crash with a buddy this evening. I snatched my keys and departed. She persisted in yelling. By the following day, the true conflict ignited. The ceremony. Allow me to outline the monetary breakdown. I'm an organizer. My folks, fellow organizers, were remarkably open-handed. They advanced the $20,000 irrevocable payment for the location. That served as their contribution. Elena's parents, Robert and Linda, covered her gown, $6,000, and the arrangement specialist for $1,000. The band, I procured solo. It cost $12,000, funded outright from my reserves. I phoned my parents and explained. They were appalled, then indignant, then encouraging. They resigned to the $20,000 forfeiture. View it as the most economical separation imaginable, my father quipped. I presumed Elena would inform her folks. She withheld. Instead, her mother, Linda, rang me, weeping. Linda, Adam, what's transpiring? Elena's with us. She's utterly devastated. She claims you behaved improperly toward Carla, and upon her challenge, you erupted and terminated the union. Adam, she accuses you of detaining her possessions. What transpired? My veins chilled. They'd shifted gears. I was recast as the antagonist. The storyline was scripted. Adam accosted Carla. and upon exposure, he raised the partnership vengefully. This was their underhanded maneuver. No public outburst online, merely a subtle, poisonous murmur to kin and acquaintances. They aimed to depict me as erratic and hostile. "Linda," I responded, my tone quivering faintly from sheer ire. "That's the antithesis of reality. I require a face-to-face with you and Robert. Neutral ground. Care to join me for a brew?" Sans Elena. A hesitation. She's profoundly shaken, Adam. "Understood, and I assure you, once concluded, you'll share her distress. I implore you. I wouldn't request otherwise." We convened at a cafe. I carried my device. My palms shook from anxiety. What if disbelief prevailed? What if allegiance lay with her regardless? "Very well, Adam," Robert stated, posture rigid. "He's no nonsense. Clarify. You've shattered my girl's spirit." I uttered nothing. I merely placed my device on the surface and unveiled the message chain. "This originates from Carla." I urged, "Kindly review the full sequence, timestamps included." I monitored them. Linda covered her lips. Robert's visage transitioned from ire to bewilderment to a profound crimson. He perused. He absorbed Carla's propositions. He absorbed my rebuff. Then he encountered Carla's disclosure. Elena compelled me. He revisited sections. He reread. Linda began sobbing, authentically now. "Oh, Robert, she couldn't have." "She did," Robert affirmed. His timbre was coarse. He met my gaze, and ire toward me evaporated. In its place, a vast, abyssal mortification. "She deceived us," he murmured. "She claimed you." I grasped what she conveyed, I interposed. "And now truth prevails. My deepest regrets. I cherished her, yet union's impossible. The ceremony's annulled. I've notified my parents of the deposit's loss. This is," Linda breathed, "this is mortifying." I departed, leaving them. I'd fulfilled my duty. The consequences struck swiftly. Elena evidently received an earful from her dad. She avoided retrieving her items from the apartment. She dispatched Carla. Carla arrived appearing as if she'd wept endlessly. Collecting Elena's possessions, she muttered, averting her stare. I'd assembled them, I noted, gesturing to the crates nearby. "Yet I possess an inquiry for you, Carla." "Why oblige?" She recoiled. I merely, she's my dearest ally." "So you'd aid her in undermining her own romance? You'd attempt to allure her partner? What manner of ally is that?" "You can't fathom," she retorted sharply. "You're the destroyer. You were meant to decline and discard it. We'd chuckle, but you played sleuth. You ensnared me. You ensnared Elena. You're deranged. The audacity. Staggering. Take the crates, Carla, and relay to Elena, I demand the band returned. It's on my workstation where she abandoned it. Fetch it. She retains it," Carla hissed. "You severed the betrothal. You compensate her. That $12,000 compensates her anguish. Best wishes reclaiming it." She seized an initial crate and fled. I observed her exit. Anguish indeed. I promptly consulted my attorney. Thus, a brief query on contingent presence. Final update. 3 months elapsed. Greetings to the riveting wrap-up of my $12,000 minor claims tribunal dispute. It proved as laborious, administrative, and soul-sapping as one might foresee. Elena entrenched firmly. She wouldn't relinquish that band. Her stance, as Carla had so artfully phrased, was my termination of the betrothal entitled her to it as redress. My stance was the betrothal dissolved for justification. The justification. My betrothed was a cunning orchestrator who assessed my devotion via her allies' simulated advances. We both engaged counsel. This transcended mere negotiation. The sly maneuvers intensified. Elena's counsel endeavored to portray me as domineering. They alleged fiscal mistreatment. Falsehood. I covered the apartment. She handled her vehicle payment. We divided services evenly. They alleged I segregated her from her circle, namely disliking Carla. They constructed a tale that her probe was necessitated by my opacity and intimidation. Utter nonsense, yet alarming. It's the archetypal snare. The male invariably appears the instigator. I truly feared a magistrate might perceive a spurned female and a detached, rational male and favor her. Elena and Carla seemed assured. They entered the session exuding arrogance. Elena attired as for a philanthropic gathering. Carla trailed, her devoted fabricator. My counsel, a keen female named Ms. Rivera, presented our position. The messages were exhibited, the complete record. Ms. Rivera affirmed the ban as a provisional offering per regional statutes. She contended the prerequisite of matrimony was nullified by Elena's contrived evaluation, amounting to a core violation of confidence rendering union untenable. Elena's counsel R.O. Rose. Your Honor, my charge was a frantic soul smitten. She harbored grounds to suspect Mr. My Surname of infidelity. Her ally, Miss Carla, merely sought to unearth verity. Admittedly misguided, yet not spiteful. Mr. My Surname's disproportionate response, his interrogation of Ms. Carla, and his swift annulment of the union itself evidences his volatility. He violated the pact. Then Carla testified. And falsified. She asserted I'd acted improperly toward her previously. That I'd uttered remarks. That Elena's probe stemmed from her accounts of my conduct. She averred my messages to her, pressing for admission, were coercive. And her claim of Elena's directive arose from terror. Total invention. My assertion versus hers. I sensed the magistrate hesitating. This was their masterstroke. Ms. Rivera interjected. Your Honor, we request one additional testifier, Dylan Reyes, to testify. Elena and Carla both stiffened. I witnessed Carla's hue fade. Sheer alarm. Who's Dylan? Dylan is Carla's former partner. From some 2 years prior. Amid this turmoil, one notion lingered. This seems rehearsed. Thus, I applied my professional skill. I conducted a search. I sifted Carla's archived online presence. Located her prior beau. I contacted him speculatively. Hi, peculiar inquiry. Did Carla ever engage in oddities with your acquaintances? It required a week, but he replied. You've no clue. Now he stood in the chamber. Ms. Rivera, Mr. Reyes, outline your liaison with Ms. Carla? We coupled for nearly a year. Parted 2 years past. And detail the breakup's context? It was bizarre. She ignited a massive quarrel, charging me with roving gaze. Days later, my top pal Lucas approached, uneasy. He displayed messages from Carla, propositioning him, claiming I undervalued her. Lucas rebuffed promptly. Ms. Rivera, and upon confronting Ms. Carla, she vowed Lucas fabricated, that he initiated. She branded me a beast for crediting him over her. She ended us for my distrust. Ms. Rivera, did verity emerge later? Indeed. Half a year on, she imbibed heavily and confessed. She revealed Elena persuaded her it was suspiciously ideal and warranted scrutiny for flaws. The scrutiny propositioned my top pal. When I reacted adversely rather than dismissively, Elena advised her I was overbearing and to sever ties. The chamber hushed. Dylan, they replicated it on you, mate. I can't fathom a recurrence. Carla trembled overtly. Elena bored into the surface. Their whole reliability, their whole storyline, evaporated. This was an error. It was routine. It defined their tactic. The magistrate required no interval. He regarded Elena. Madam, before me lies a evident, recorded sequence of spiteful and cunning conduct, devised by you and enacted by your ally. The rationale for this betrothal's end lies wholly and solely upon you. You failed good faith. You operated maliciously. The band's offering is thus invalidated. He decreed favorably. The band required return in 48 hours. Elena's counsel pleaded for phased repayment. The magistrate denied. The repercussions? Elena surrendered the $12,000 band. I liquidated it at once. Her parents, Robert and Linda, evidently compel her to reimburse their $10,000 loss on the gown and arrangements. They're mortified and through with her schemes. Carla, her standing is toxic. Dylan's account detonated their former social sphere. She's viewed as venomous subordinate, and trust evades her. And I? Well, I'm short $20,000. Or rather, my parents are. That payment vanished eternally. That's the tangible cost. That's the toll for discerning my betrothed's essence. It stings. I harbored deep remorse over it. Yet my parents repeatedly affirm it was their shrewdest investment. I'm in my apartment. It's serene. I've erased every image of her. I'm grappling with the reality that the woman I'd pledged to was essentially a juvenile bully in adult guise. It's no triumphant close. I forfeited a year, substantial funds, and my faith in humanity. Largely obliterated. But I prevailed. I leveraged my intellect. I amassed the facts. And I unveiled the reality. They presumed they maneuvered strategically, yet they toyed crudely. And I merely appended the setup. It's authentic. It's genuine. And I'm liberated.